Hello, I'm Mariama Diallo. Vincent McCurry is on assignment. This is Africa 54. Tonight, an international oil giant is accused of misreporting oil spills, calling them pipelines, theft in Nigeria's Niger Delta region. A report published Thursday by Amnesty International and the Center for Environment, Human Rights and Development claims that it has evidence that Shell Petroleum has minimized the scope of its oil spills and blamed the overflow on sabotage and not faulty equipment. For more on this situation, we are joined via Skype by Heather Murdock in Lagos. Hello, Heather.
Hello, how are you?
Well, Heather, if this report is true, it will be a report that would be considered very, very explosive because the accusations are very serious, right?
Yes, they are very serious. They're accusing Shell of basically falsifying reports and saying that they spill less oil than they actually spill, and saying that the spills are caused, like you said, by oil thieves more often than broken material. And this is really important because the people in the Niger Delta are generally quite angry about how much of their livelihoods they've lost to oil spills. And Shell is by law only required to pay them compensation if it's their fault that there was an oil spill.
Well, the report says, and I'm going to read real quick here, that Shell Petroleum, which of course pumps the bulk of the oil in the Niger Delta region, underreports the size of those spills and ignores the fact that the problem is actually due to faulty equipment, not sabotage. The report says it has evidence. How so?
They say that they have a secret video of people falsifying the reports. They also say that they did a video analysis of one of the larger oil spills and came up with a amount of oil that was far greater than what Shell had reported.
And what has been the reaction of Shell Petroleum? We have tried to actually call them and invite them to appear today on Africa 54, but our calls were not answered. Did you hear from them, and what did they say?
I did call them, and I did talk to their press person, who emailed me a 2-paragraph statement, and I think that is their official reaction, and I think it's their only official reaction. They deny the charges. They say Amnesty is not telling the truth, and they repeat that these oil spills are mostly caused by oil theft. And you know what? It's actually true that there is a tremendous amount of oil theft in the Niger Delta. The Nigerian government says they lose $1 billion a month to oil theft, and if you go to the Niger Delta, there's black market crude oil available everywhere. So you can't not give them credit for their point of view on this one.
Well, your article also talked about that the report is not only blaming Shell about polluting that whole Niger Delta. There were also other companies that were mentioned. Would you mind any other companies telling us about those companies as well?
Sure. There's a company called Agip, which is a subsidiary of Eni, an Italian company, that reported 474 oil spills this year. And Shell so far has reported 207. These are both huge numbers.
Well, but, I was actually wondering, I mean, 207 spills just within the last year, it's tremendous. It's an amazing number.
It is. And if you take a boat through the creeks in the Niger Delta, you see oil everywhere. On the fish that come out of the water, you can see the oil.
Well, before I let you go, any reactions from the Nigerian government or some of the people who are affected directly by the spills, like the farmers, fishermen, or environmentalists?
Farmers and fishermen have been devastated by the oil spills in the Niger Delta, and they are angry. And this report provides further proof of what they have long believed and long to be true. The government doesn't speak with one voice on this issue, but they do tend to pass the blame. The people will blame the government and the oil companies. The oil companies will blame the people for stealing the oil, and what the government does is blames the oil companies, saying oil companies are responsible for cleaning up their own messes.
Well, Heather, thank you so much for joining us today. Heather Murdock was reporting via Skype from Lagos in Nigeria.